Hello everyone and welcome to my August wrap up. I mean, I read a lot. I don't know how this happened, but I read a lot. So get cozy because we're going to be here quite a bit of time, I predict. So first up, The 101 Dalmatians by Dodie Smith. This has got its own video review and I absolutely loved this. It read like a series of short stories about, you know, Pongo and Mrs. trying to find the puppies and the dogs that they meet on their way, and it's cozy and it's lovely and it's set around Christmas time, so this is a perfect Christmas read. I've done a whole review on it, so I'll put that down below. There's that. I then read Ali Smith's The Accidental. This is my first ever Ali Smith and it's set into 3 parts which are called The Beginning, Middle and End, and it's about a family that go on holiday, and then one day this girl called Amber just comes into their like holiday home and they form this deep kind of connection, each of them with her, and each of the family members is holding a secret. So some is more severe than others. So the teenage boys, I think he has the most severe secret. And then you have like a 12-year-old girl who her secret isn't that bad, it's just she doesn't want to get in trouble with her mum, so she doesn't want to tell her. And then in the middle is them kind of just interacting with Amber, and then at the end they go back home and their secrets come out, and it's how that is dealt with the family. I thought this is good. This is incredibly literary fiction. Let me say that first, which means there's not a lot of plot and there is a hell of a lot of descriptive language. This could have been shorter. I like Ali Smith's writing. I like her symbolism. I think she's very gifted, like really genius writer. You know, some books you read and you're like, that's good, and then you read other books and you're like, that is ungodly talent that like author has. That's how I feel about Ali Smith, but for me this was a bit too literary for me to really like it and love it and fall for it. So I'd like to read some more Ali Smith, but something maybe a little bit shorter. If she's done novellas, short stories, I don't know, tell me, let me know. But this was just a little bit too heavy for me. It was interesting, I will say, like nothing happens. Everything happens at the beginning and that's in their secrets, so that's not present day, that's just in flashbacks, and then nothing happens from the rest of the story really, to be fair. There was also a plotline which I find very odd, which is when an adult woman has sex with someone who's like 15, a 15-year-old boy, and it's fine, you know, it's a coming of age thing. Because if it was the other way around, if it was a 15-year-old girl having sex with a 30-year-old man, we'd be going, whoa, that's not okay. In the UK the age of consent is 16. So as long as you're 16 and consenting to sex, you can have sex with anyone you want, which might seem mental because I know a lot of countries it's like 21 and 18, but for us it is just 16. So 15, you're not at the age of consent yet, and I do feel there is this thing that no one talks about, which is if a 15-year-old boy has sex with an older woman, it's like cool and coming of age and it's coming into himself, but if it's a girl it's perverted and disgusting and paedophilic and all this different stuff. So that made me feel a bit uncomfortable because it was never referenced how he is technically still a child that she is having sex with. So that was the only bit in it that I was like, it's weird as a society and English culture that we don't see that as abuse towards the boy, yet if it was a girl it would be 100% abuse, call the police, it's disgusting. And I think it's abuse because the age is 16 for consent. He is a child. He's still at school. He wears a school uniform, you know, because in the UK we wear a uniform. Like, ugh, why would a grown woman want to sleep with someone who, ugh, don't. So that's the only thing. I think that's just taboo within our culture that's never referenced, and I find it ridiculous. But that was my only qualm. Tell me your opinions, other UK people, on that kind of issue. But this was okay. It's just a little bit too literary for me to really fall in love with and enjoy. I then read a graphic novel. This is Mouse Guard Autumn. I love all things autumn and I thought this was going to be cozy. Pine nuts, autumn leaves, these mice, kind of like Bramley Hedge, and it was like rust and gore and guts. So let me show you the art style. It's very, very dark, as you can see here. It's about, there are mice that guide the other mice basically. So because everyone, mice are bottom on like the food chain, everyone's going after them, poor little things. They then created the mouse guards, and they are the ones that if a mouse goes missing they have to go and find them, fight off predators and really just protect the mice. So they find out one of the mice is a traitor and then they have to go on this quest to find out who's involved with this overthrowing of the mice government, and that's what the story is. It's kind of a quest, Lord of the Ringsy, overthrowing governments and powers, and then big battle scene at the end. This was okay, it just wasn't for me. If you're into fantasy, 100%, but I thought there was going to be a lot more kind of autumn in it, and as I showed you, it's just very kind of, you know, it has the autumn colours, so I can understand why it's been called autumn, but this just isn't an art style that I personally enjoy. I love a lot more detail in the art. There were great visuals within this, I must say though. I think this would make a fantastic film. This is by David Pettersen, and he wrote this and illustrated it. Again, like amazing talent to be able to do both. So I think if he made this into a cartoon film, this would be stunning. But yeah, this was okay. I got this at the library. Glad I didn't buy it. But you know, you can't like everything. I then, oh god, Vern and Letters by Sarah McIntyre. The DFC library. DFC used to be a comic. I don't know if it still runs, to have funny little comic strips. So here is the art style, very cute, love this, very light, and it's just all the comic strips that were in the magazine, well not all, some of them, they've compiled into this volume. So it's really cute, and you basically, it's very English, very London. This is the Tube, so if you like London then you'll love it. And you have a rabbit, and then you have a sheep. A sheep is the park warden, and the rabbit just lives in the same tower block as the sheep, and they're best friends, and it's about their adventures and what they do. So some of them in here are just one page and that's the whole story, but at the end it kind of was like a bit of a novella. There was like a whole storyline of them entering the talent show. This is cute. I don't know if I give this to children because I don't know if they'd get it. There's a lot of movie references, so if you like Bob's Burgers, yep, you'll definitely love this. This is cute, this is lovely. Maybe like 12 up for a child, because otherwise they just won't get what it's referencing. But this was such a good time. I can't tell you how fun it was, but it was just fun and lovely, and a lovely switch off. I feel like the world is on fire, okay? I feel like it's burning, and we're all burning inside it at the moment, and this was just a lovely kind of switch off read. So I enjoyed that. I then got sent this from the publishers, and I was like, sorry, what? This is Pride and Prejudice, Search and Find. It's a children's picture book, and when I opened it I was just like, wow, this is like a cloth bound, absolutely stunning detail on here. Basically what this is it's a story of Pride and Prejudice. So I have a few lines of the story, very brief lines of the story, and then it'll have characters and objects. So a scurrying mouse, and you have to find the scurrying mouse. So you know, like in Where's Wally, when you have to search for certain things, so where's Wally, and then maybe you'll search for a certain car. As you can see, it's all on the side of the characters that you have to match up. It's quite complicated sometimes because the pictures are so detailed. This would be perfect for a car ride or Christmas gift. This is like Christmas gift heaven right now, because look, it looks stunning and beautiful, and then if you've got a long car journey, instead of the children being like, well, we're there yet, oh, we're there yet, you can be like, look how many characters you've got to find in this picture. And the pictures are beautiful, stunning. So I cannot recommend this enough. I think this is a really beautiful gift. I think this will entertain your children. Love it. I think that's fantastic. I then have another children's picture book. This is for much younger children. This is Smelly Jelly, Smelly Fish, the Seaside book. This is written by Micheal Rosen and illustrated by Quentin Blake. I'll show you the cover there. And what this is it's basically a series of riddles and short things. So you have this one here, which, let me just say, Quentin's my bae. Love the illustrations in this. Think they are some of his best. So this gorgeous thing, and then you'll have like a little riddle. I think this would be really nice if for your child you want to read one a night to them. So, you know, this one's called On the Beach, and it's all about different beach adventures, and behind this man there's like a big bear, and it's all cute and lovely, and I think this would just be a nice, before they go to sleep, one of these reads. I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as Quentin Blake's own work. So he did Miss Armitage, and I love that. I think Quentin Blake's got a real charm. I love his illustrations, but I think his writing's got a real charm as well. But I didn't mind this at all by Micheal Rosen. I know Quentin Blake and him have done a lot of things. I have a lot more of the picture books to like talk about, But I mean, those illustrations, you can't really go wrong because they're so beautiful. And it's really about like imagination and children's imagination. So it'll be like, what if there were submarines that were children's sizes and we're going through the sea? So I think a bedtime story is just such lovely to have such a gorgeous imagination story. There's nothing scary in it that's going to keep them up. It's just a lovely, lovely book. So yeah, I'd get that. I then read, wasn't too keen on this. This is Lost and Found by Brooke Davis, who's an Australian author. This is set in Australia. It's about a little girl whose mum leaves her in a department store and says, I'll be back, and her mum's not coming back. And it changes narratives, so some of it's told from the little girl, and then some of it's told for an old man who she meets in the department store, and then some of it's told from an old woman who lives across the road from her. And the old man, his wife has died and he's dealing with the grief of that. The little girl is dealing with the grief her dad has died and now her mum has abandoned her, and it's so sad. And then the old woman across the road from her is dealing with her husband has died and she's become a recluse and does not leave the house at all. So the old man and the old woman have to help this little girl find her mum, and they go on this quest. It's very Home Alone, McCall, like, oh, there's a bus there, oh my god, it just happens to be the bus that they're on, and oh, you know, it's not realistic at all, I have to be honest with you. This would make kind of a fantastical feel that would be quite good, but yeah, I thought it was good. I thought there were moments that were really beautiful when it was talking about grief and the little girl's grief and abandonment, and also it was really interesting how the little girl was telling you about her mum and just telling you normal stuff which she thought were normal, but as an adult you could realise, okay, her mum's had a mental breakdown because her mum would just watch TV all day, her mum would cry a lot, her mum would snap. There were little stories within it that the girl just thought were normal, and they were obviously her mum having a breakdown, and her dad had cheated on her mum just before he died, and he'd got very ill and her mum had to care for him, and he cheated on her mum, and so you really got the mum's kind of side of it, and that she was just completely broken, so you get really connected with it. And then it would just be like, oh, now they're hitchhiking on a car and the couple have started kissing and the car's swerving. It's just like, what, where did this come from? And then they go to a bar and there's a bar fight, and it's just like, where is this all coming from? You had such beautiful language. I didn't enjoy this, as you can tell. You had such beautiful moments within it, and then it felt just thrown away. Yeah, I didn't enjoy this, to be fair. If you want a switch off kind of read, then read it. It's a fantastical, fun ride. So maybe a holiday beach read. Go for it. Give it a go. Then read Little Women by Louisa Alcott. I did the 24 hours of reading challenge. I filmed the video of it, and some of these books I read in the read along, so if you want me to upload the video then let me know. If you don't, then I won't. This was good. Me just like, this was no, this was good. This is a good Christmas read. Once again, so many good Christmas reads because it's set around Christmas. So it's about a mum and her 4 daughters, and the 4 daughters, it's all about their different personalities and how they get on with each other, and they're all very different. So you've got like a tomboy, and then you've got one that's a bit of a snob, and then you've got Beth, who I felt was like a bit of kind of a motherly character. And then they make friends with the boy next door called Laurie, who lives with his granddad, and it goes into that whole situation. Their dad has gone to the army. I thought this was good, but I felt like it was missing something for me. So it's about the changing class system, how I interpret it, because this isn't Dickensian poor. They're not kind of like Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Pip is like living in a shack with his sister and his sister's husband, and they're desperately poor. I didn't feel like they were this, and they have a servant in it called Hannah, which they say, oh, she feels more like a friend than a servant. She's still being paid to be there though, because there is a bit in it where her mum lets her have the day off, so you have this idea that they still have a servant. So I feel like they go from a middle class lifestyle to a working class lifestyle, but none of them really have proper jobs. So they're not like working on market stalls, they're not working as housemaids. And also they were talking about how their lifestyle used to be of like fine clothes and balls and beautiful house, and that now they were living in much simpler time. You couldn't feel that sorry for them, I have to be honest. I couldn't connect when they were talking about not having the things that they wanted, because the things that they wanted weren't food. They weren't saying, I want a roast, or I would love some bread. They were saying, I'd love silk gloves and I'd love a beautiful dress with ribbons like I used to have. So they weren't desperately poor. This was a snuggly read though. I did snuggle into it. I did think it was a fun read. This can also be quite a quick read. This is part 1. I know the Little Women book is huge. It's over 300 pages, this one. And then I know there's like, this is what she originally wrote and published, and at the end of this she says, will we find out about these Little Women again? I don't know. We'll have to see the success of this book. So she's kind of stirring the pot, and obviously it was successful, so she wrote another volume. I haven't read the other volume. I will read on because I am intrigued to see what happens to the girls. If Laurie and Joe don't get married, I don't know what I'll do though. I think I'm going to go mental. This was okay. I didn't love it as much as people love it. I think I'm more into like pain-stricken Dickensian style life, you know, peasant on the street, Tiny Tim, devastation, than this. But this was definitely snuggly. Definitely I think everyone should read it. Read it around Christmas time with 101 Dalmatians. That'll be your perfect Christmas. So it was still good. I then have 2 more things to talk about. So A Child's Garden of Verses by Robert Louis Stevenson. This is, so obviously he wrote Treasure Island and Kidnapped, but this is him just writing little verses about childhood and what it means to be a child. The illustrations in this are by Eve Garnett, and they make the book. Seriously, without them I don't think I could have got through it. So they're really gorgeous pencil sketches. You can see on the front her illustration, stunning illustrations. He says at the beginning, which I think is really odd that they published, they have an introduction, and in it has a letter of him talking about this book to a friend, and he says, I don't care what it's called because I'm not very proud of it, and it reads like it's written like a child. Yeah, he's reviewed the book for me. It's really simplistic. Some of them make absolutely no sense. Some of them are really beautiful and lovely, but a lot of them are, I don't even know. One of it is like, it's like, I'm a soldier, I'm in Babylon, I'm in heaven, I'm in the sky, good night, I go to sleep. What? It's got no rhyme or reason to it. It's got no meaning to a lot of it. So I was kind of reading it just like, well, it was very hit and miss collection. I wouldn't really go out of my way to buy it. I think this edition was lovely because of Sue's illustrations, but it was originally published without illustrations. What a slog that would have been to get through this though. And I think even he, you know, said this isn't his greatest work. He just kind of published it, put it out there, cash cow maybe kind of thing. I didn't enjoy this, to be fair. And then last but not least is a mental but gorgeous one. Lesley Ann Ivory's Christmas Cats. So Lesley is actually an artist, and she's done a lot of these books, and they're all cat themed because she loves just drawing cats. So it comes in a slipcover like that, stunning, gorgeous hardback there, and then you open it up, it's got this kind of cat design, and each of them are cats that she knows within her life or her own cats. So we'll have a picture of a cat and the border, and then it'll have something from another Christmas story. So this is from a book called Mistletoe, and just have a quote from that. There's a lot of Dickens quotes in this. And then she'll have a small paragraph talking about the cat. So how she knows the cat, but also the way she writes. She writes with such an understanding to animals that it reminded me so much of, I've got so like a massive pile of books there, Dodie Smith in 101 Dalmatians. She writes the dogs in such a sensitive, beautiful way that it's really calming and lovely, and this is how she writes about the cats, with such an understanding. I adored this. I got this as a joke, I've got to be honest. I thought it'd just be like a laugh. I wasn't that honest, like in love with it or anything, but now reading it, I think it's stunning. I think this is a perfect Christmas gift if you have a cat lover. And just the way she writes is like, she'll tell you anecdotes about the cat. So this cat is here, and I've chosen to do this background with it because it reminds me of the Christmas song this, and this cat, her tendencies are normally to do, it's hard to explain, but it's beautiful. So if you have a cat lover, anything Lesley Ann Ivory does, to be fair, buy, because it's good and it's lovely, and she has a real beautiful understanding. Oh my god, gold spine there, really beautiful understanding of animals. I loved this. I actually will treasure this forever. I think it's a really, really beautiful book to have, and I bought it as a laugh. So, you know, joke's on me because it was very good. Lesley's illustrations are just stunning. You know, just look her up online if you're interested. Her illustrations are, she's so talented, beautiful. So I actually had a really good reading month. As you see, there wasn't a book that I was like, I hate to despise. Like, the majority of them I liked. I thought this was a good reading month. Tell me down below what you read, or if you've read any of these books, which I'm sure you have, because There's quite a few this month. And I will see you again very soon for another video. Feel free to subscribe. Join us if you haven't already. Like up this video. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Have a lovely day, my dear.